What's going on, Detroit Lions fans? Welcome back. Detroit Den 3-3 with Steve, flying solo. Will's coaching. I'll get with him later this evening. When he gets home, we'll have an episode out for you guys tomorrow. Joint show. One of the things that Will and I always do is when we record our show, we get off air and we kind of just hang around in here where we can't, we're not recording. We're just kind of sitting and talking about things that are going on, whether it's the direction we want the podcast to go or what's going on with the Detroit Lions, stuff about the future. We talk about a lot of different stuff. I'm going to clue you guys in on a conversation that I had with Will last year. It was probably towards the end of the season. And again, we were talking about the future of the Detroit Lions. We were just kind of going over some NFL stuff, looking at some other teams and their rosters. And I mentioned the name DJ Reader to him last year. And we both got excited. Both got really excited. Like, man, this dude's going to be a free agent. He's coming off an injury. Sounds like a Brad Holmes type guy, 1 year prove it deal. I know he's got a longer deal than that, but sounds like something Brad Holmes might be interested in. He was a target for us way back last year before the season even ended. And once he officially became a free agent, we had conversations about it even more like, man, DJ Reader on this team would be an absolute nightmare. We got a young pass rusher in Aiden Hutchinson. We don't know what we're going to do in the draft at the time. There's still some other free agents. We've loved DJ Reader since he was a Cincinnati Bengal. We've envisioned him in a Detroit Lions uniform, and we got some phenomenal news about DJ today that he was a full go at practice. Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have both hinted that he should be ready for week 2 against Tampa Bay here in just a few days. And I'm just picturing how dominant this defense is going to be. And yes, I use the word dominant on purpose. I don't like to throw that word around, but the last time DJ Reader played football was week 15 of last year. So he's had essentially, the Bengals didn't really do what they wanted to do last year. And he's kind of had a full off season to just kind of recover, keep his body in shape, heal up those quads, and he's ready to go Sunday. This is phenomenal news, guys. And what I'm tired of is what I'm just absolutely tired of is people bashing this Detroit Lions defense. Like we've been talking about it all week since we beat the Rams. Like the Rams were a playoff team last year. They had a phenomenal draft. They drafted 2 of my number 1 and number 2 defensive players on their team, Fisk and Jared Verse. Those were literally Jared Verse was my number 1 and Braden Fisk was my number 2. They got both of them. So they had a phenomenal draft, in my opinion. The Rams are a great team. They're going to make some noise in the NFC. There's some people who think that they're going to win the NFC West. We saw Matthew Stafford's best game. Matthew Stafford came in here again. Like if you guys saw the clip where he was mic'd up last year in the playoffs, he came in on the field and said, I'm ready to break their hearts. We told you guys that. Stafford threw everything at us but the kitchen sink, and he probably would have threw that if he had one. He gave his best performance. Detroit Lions came up short. Defense gave up 3 points in the first half. I get it. There's some small issues in the second half. We can talk about offense, defense, but we're trying to keep this DJ Reader. At the end of that game, we only gave up 20 points. Those days of like the 85 Bears and like the early 2000 Ravens or like the early 2010 Steelers teams of just like pitching just absolute dominant defense, it's not the same. That's not the NFL anymore. This NFL wants to see, fans want to see people score. It's driven around gambling and fantasy football. And there's a lot of outside influence into changing the game. And the only rule changes that really happen year to year seem to be defensively or on kickoff. Like you can't hip drop tackle, you can't face guard. There's a lot of rules that impact the defense more. This is an offense driven league. So for the Detroit Lions to only give up 20 points to a team of that caliber with the Rams, and we're going to be tested Sunday against Tampa Bay too. But DJ Reader, man, pairing him with Aiden Hutchinson, who had 11 sacks, I wish he had 11 sacks, 11 pressures and 1 sack against that Rams team. Pairing DJ Reader with Marcus Davenport, who had 6 pressures and half a sack. DJ Reader with Levi Onwuzurike, who had 5 pressures and half a sack. Like, you're throwing a absolute monster in with other monsters. Like this team is going to dominate up front. By the end of this season, or maybe even by like week 8, we're going to be talking about how the Detroit Lions have a top offensive line and a top defensive line. We did a show yesterday on stocks and who I'm buying in. I'm very, very high on this defensive line, and Aaron Glenn deserves a break, man. I was pretty critical of him last year, but he made some changes, and we were bit by the injury bug last year, and we're kind of we're one of the more healthy teams with how I know it's early in the season, but we're a healthy team right now compared to some other teams that I could rattle off and talk to you guys about. But I'm just picturing Aiden Hutchinson, Lee McNeil, DJ Reader, Marcus Davenport, Levi Onwuzurike. Like we got guys we can just shuffle in and out of this line. And like I said, I know he's going to play Sunday. I'm pretty well aware that it's more than likely going to be very, very limited action. I'm thinking like, I feel like 20 snaps is generous. Like I think we're going to see DJ Reader get maybe 20 to 25 snaps. I understand. They're going to be snaps that are going to impactful. All right. I do believe that half of those 20 to 25 snaps will be impactful. Third down situations. I know they're going to take it easy on him. They're not just going to say, hey, he's a full go week 2. I know that's not going to happen. I know what my expectations are. I know what my realistic expectations are. He might not even make a tackle. He might not even make a sack. He might only get a couple pressures. That's fine. Open the door for Aiden Hutchinson. Open the door for Marcus Davenport. At times, if it's 3rd and 11, push that pocket back right into Baker Mayfield's lap. Here's where I think the Detroit Lions have a huge advantage. And even with limited snaps from DJ Reader, is he's going to be going up against Graham Barton. That's what I would do. If I was Aaron Glenn or Terrell Williams, I'm throwing DJ Reader whenever I get him into the game. I'm putting him right up there against the rookie Graham Barton and saying, go welcome him to the NFL. That is a mismatch, I feel like. And I love rookies. I'm all about the draft, but I have a rule. You have to prove yourself in the NFL before I can just say that you're going to lock down DJ Reader or someone like that. And I said the same thing about Terran Arnold. I said he was going to be picked on by Matthew Stafford because he's unproven. He was. It's not often I'm right. Every now and then, again, I get a little lucky. I told you guys, Terran Arnold will be targeted. Now, I'm going to play the other role. Like I said, if I'm the Detroit Lions, Aaron Glenn, Terrell Williams, the defensive line coach, and I'm only getting 20 to 25 snaps on defense, I'm putting DJ Reader on Graham Barton every single snap. Make that rookie go out there and defend one of the best interior pass defensive tackles in today's NFL. It's a tough ask. Guys, I'm very, very excited about DJ Reader. I'm very, very excited that he's going to put the pads on. I know it's going to be some limited action, but still, this is going to help the Detroit Lions team. We gotta just let some stuff play out before we start getting on Twitter and tweeting out our thoughts after week 1 because maybe you weren't right about who you wanted the Detroit Lions to target in free agency or the draft. Sometimes the best dessert is a big old slice of humble pie. Some people don't want to eat it. Some people are going to have it shoved down their throat. That's the way it goes sometimes. Leave some comments down below. Hit that like button, guys. Subscribe if you feel inclined. I'll be back later with another show with Will. Can't wait to get on it. Leave some questions down below. We'll answer them in our next show. Have a good night.